All right, folks, welcome back to NFL Week 6. And let's go right on into the news and notes. Chargers, Anthony Lynn, the head coach, used a scaled-back playbook on both sides of the football for them for the win last week.
I saw a little bit of this game, and they got the ball into Melvin Gordon's hand a lot. I saw a lot of touches for Gordon. It was actually a pretty good game. You know, the Giants started the game off, and then they got a safety. They went up, they kicked a field goal and then they got a safety, or either vice versa. And there forever it was 9-6, and then or 9-8. And then the second half was a little back and forth, and San Diego ended up coming out with a W. Obviously, Beckham going down was huge. For the Giants, I think we can pretty much stick a fork in the Giants at 0-5. Ben McAdoo is really not coaching to save his job more than anything else. As far as the Chargers go, this is a team that, for the last 2.5, 3 years has been in a lot of games in the fourth quarter and has found a way to lose more than they found a way to win. But, they keep fighting. Hey, they're always there. They don't give up. That's one thing you can say about the Chargers and Anthony Lynn. So, we'll see what happens. I think they're playing the Raiders this week, so we'll see if they can get 2 in a row against a terrible Raiders team without Derek Carr, so we'll see what happens there.
Gregorius just hit one out, 1-0.
Nice.
So, Browns, before we get to the Browns, all right, McLovin.
Fuck you, Cleveland.
McLovin, Titans defense or Jay Cutler? Who was it? Titans only gave up 16 points, so who was it? Jay Cutler's problem?
I think it was the offensive line coach.
Let's get to that in a minute. But Titans, we're talking about the Titans defense.
I know. The Titans defense, they got ripped apart the week before by Houston. And Deshaun Watson pissed all over their faces. And, and then they came out against a team like Miami who hadn't even scored a touchdown yet. And they got beat. They played a little bit better, but it was against a Jay Cutler led offense who is just anemic at best. They can't run the ball. Their receivers aren't getting open. Jay Cutler doesn't give a shit. So the bottom line is Tennessee, has really taken a couple steps back from where we thought they were going to be, and Miami is in a lot of hurt. Anytime you get Jay Cutler and one of the worst run games in the NFL, you're not going to win. So I think both teams are pretty bad, both Tennessee and Miami. I think Tennessee, unless they can figure something out with Mariota, who's been down, the running game, Murray hasn't been doing well, and really nothing. Delaney Walker's had a bad year at tight end. They haven't really got many help from the receivers either. So, we'll see what happens. But I think Tennessee really is the worse their defense plays, the worse of a chance they have at even getting back in that division or even making the playoffs.
Browns changed quarterbacks, and they're going to start Hogan over Kaiser now. Kevin Hogan.
I know EDP is a huge Kaiser fan. Look, Cleveland's Cleveland. Cleveland's always going to be Cleveland. And until they actually can get draft picks and build on those draft picks, it's going to be a process. It's, where careers go to die, both coaching, both front office, and both players, They always seem to have a high draft pick. They get a decent quality guys, but they just can't win. And Kaiser, who's, he's a rookie, I don't think, I think he'll be a starter again by the end of this year. I think Cleveland, they got beat by a bad Jets team who is ironically 3-2, if you can believe it. But with that being said, that's a game they should have won, and, they lost. So I think that the problems for the Browns go further than just the quarterback situation, but what they say, Hogan's in there. He's not the answer either. So
the Rams are moving the ball but not finishing drives. What do you think of this? They've scored a touchdown on only 47.8% of their red zone drives.
Well, I mean, that's where you win and lose games. I mean, you got to give credit to Seattle, who hung on to that game and beat them last week. You know, as a Rams team, you know, no one expected them to come out and, you know, 2 weeks ago to go on the road and beat Dallas. And then everyone thought they were going to capitalize that, and they, you know, took a step back by losing to a division opponent in Seattle. The Rams are still a young team, have a young quarterback, they have a young coach, they have a good defensive line, they have young receivers and a young running back. So as long as they can stick around, you know, they can still be right there in the end in that NFC West, which I think is going to be 9-7 or 10-6. So I think they're right there. But anytime you're in the red zone, you have to score touchdowns. So, and you know, teams can go back and you can really point to, you know, 2 or 3 or 4 huge possessions in the red zone when you don't get that touchdown and you kick the field goal, you know, still putting points on the board, but obviously not winning the game.
James White says we're all accountable for the number of Tom Brady hits he's taken this year.
Yeah, I mean, James White's you know, he's been really doing well, especially catching the ball in the backfield. I think he's got to have at least 16 or 17 catches in the last 2 weeks out of the backfield. But Tom Brady's been getting hit hard, and hard and often, and you know, you don't really, you know, you don't. The New England team has not only been, you know, subpar as far as the penalties go, but you know, their one main goal as far as the offensive line, you know, is not only to, you know, run the ball, but more importantly, protect Tom Brady, who, you know, is going to really determine your season long term. And Brady still, I mean, for the season that he's had already, being hit so many times, you got to give him a lot of credit. But that's why he's your best football player ever to play the game, and the best quarterback ever to play the game. He works well with Hogan. You know, we'll see if Gronk, you know, who's now had close to 2 weeks off, so Gronk will come back. But with that being said, you know, James White's a good guy coming out of the backfield. But, you know, Gillislee and, you know, White and, you know, Dion Lewis, you know, their forte is not, you know, picking up blitzers and blocking for the quarterback. They need to have a better use of the tight end, especially Dwayne Allen and the other no-name guy there, to help with the pass rush. But A1 for the Patriots is protecting Tom Brady, because if he goes down, you know, they do have a good backup, but at the same time they can't lose Tom Brady, so they got to do a better job protecting the quarterback.
Lions offensive tackle Haloti Ngata, or Inga, I don't know how you pronounce his last name.
Haloti Ngata.
Ngata, is that what it is?
Mm-hmm.
He has 2 sacks and 5 starts this season, but he's been placed on IR with a biceps injury.
Yeah, this is a guy who's arguably has the most talent, you know, on the defensive line at anybody in the league. He's huge. You know, he's a nightmare to try to defend. You got to double team him. You know, he plays dirty. He stepped on guys, you know, in the past. You know, he was actually, if you can believe it, a defensive player who was a Heisman candidate back when he was with Nebraska. But this is a guy who's a force, and anytime you lose a guy like this for the season, you know, you'll never find anyone that can come in and replace him. So, you know, it's just like things are just going from bad to worse, you know, with him and his team. So we'll see whether he can bounce back. He's not a guy that's going to be a leader, you know, on and off the field. So, you know, they gave him a lot of money down there, and, you know, now he's hurt. So we'll see what his attitude's like when he comes back.
So Amari Cooper, through 5 games, has 13 catches for 118 yards and a touchdown. So why, you know, what the question is, ESPN says, why is he MIA?
Well, he's dropped a lot of balls. I don't know if they have his drop statistics on there, but, you know, this is a guy who is a big physical guy, and it's in his head. It's got to be in his head, you know, that his stats so far, you know, for 4 or 5 games are what his stats would be for 1 game last year with Derek Carr. You know, obviously Carr having a broken back, and, you know, E.J. Manuel, who's not a gunslinger type quarterback. He's not a good quarterback at all. I think some knucklehead called him a great quarterback last week when we were talking about it, which was next to retarded. But at the same time, you have Michael Crabtree, and this is an Oakland team who needs a receiver to not only get open but catch the ball. It is a long year. I think if Derek Carr can come back and get healthy, I think you'll see Amari Cooper. He's got too much talent to stay down for the whole year, so he can only get better.
So Cardinals traded for Adrian Peterson and they cut Chris Johnson. What do you think about that?
Well, Chris Johnson, I remember when he was, he ran a 4.2, 4.23 when he was at East Carolina, 2008. I remember being at the Combine when he did it down in Indianapolis, and it was like a blur. And who's this guy from East Carolina? He gets drafted by Tennessee and, runs for over 2,000 yards, whether it's his first or second year. But then you look at him, when he got to Arizona, he's 32, 33 years old. He's one of the oldest running backs in the league, and, obviously them having a guy like Johnson go down with the broken wrist for the year, I think this is a tremendous trade for Arizona. Adrian Peterson, obviously has lost a step or two, but basically he wasn't even seeing any touches with New Orleans, and you would think that a guy who's got, Hall of Fame talent with, numbers, you would think that he'd get more touches, but he just, has been lost in the shuffle in New Orleans. And I think that this is only going to help Arizona. They do, for what it's worth, have a pretty decent offensive line when it comes to running the ball. So we'll see what happens. I think, this is they got him for peanuts, they got him for pennies on the dollar, so you might as well give him the ball, 20, 25 times on the ground, and can't be any worse than Chris Johnson, who's pretty much washed up. So I think it's a good trade for Arizona, getting a guy like Adrian Peterson.
Tom Brady tops Bill Belichick's rankings in toughness.
Yeah, Brady is a guy who he's really a tough player, not only mentally but physically. This is a guy who's in his 40s that has been hit more times, thus far in his career, but has still put up, MVP type numbers already. As far as tough guys, when you turn on the television, especially these days in the NFL, guys are more apt to not play through injury. But Brady is one of those guys that will continue to play no matter what. He's going to have to be on his deathbed, Luna, who do you think is the most toughest player?
Hey, cut it out.
Brady's been a lot. I mean, you look at Belichick. Shut the.
Just go.
Belichick's been around guys like Lawrence Taylor, guys like Willie McGinnis, guys like Mike Vrabel, guys like Rob Ninkovich, Matt Light. You got these really tough, rugged players. Teddy Bruschi, Roman Pfeiffer, Ty Law, Rodney Harrison, Lawyer Malloy, guys that are just tough bastards. And anytime Belichick says, a good thing about Tom Brady, he's right up there as far as toughness, and I don't disagree with him.
All right, Cowboys cut cornerback Carroll, defensive tackle Paella to retire. Nolan Carroll was cut after a disappointing partial season. He played for the Eagles.
Yeah, Nolan Carroll couldn't cover half of the people we see on presentations these days. My Nana, who could, run a nice little stick route or a post route on Nolan Carroll, no problem. Catch it, touchdown, end zone, duck, goose time, So the guy's terrible. He did Dallas a favor, and Dallas fans, probably one of the worst football players on the face.
Well, he didn't retire, he got cut.
Whatever. Same thing, he's done.
Well, he didn't do him a favor, I mean, they cut him. Well, Dallas did the fans a favor.
Whatever. Yeah. Same thing, however you want to look at it, but we'll move on.
Well, let's talk about this. How could I have looked at it any differently? How did he do them a favor by getting cut? Well, he didn't go to the coaches and say.
Then I'm incorrect.
Okay, there you go.
There you go.
Cam Newton is going down. It's hard to explain. I know Cam Newton is going deep.
What's hard to explain?
The fact that you were incorrect, you couldn't say that.
I said I was incorrect.
Yeah, just now after 4 things, after you're telling me that however I want to look at it.
However you do want to look at it.
Well, that's not correct. Cam Newton is going deep at a career best rate too. Panthers quarterback Cam Newton is completing 63% of his passes on throws of 15+ yards this season.
Yeah, Devin Funchess has really stepped up to the plate. Then the tight end Dickerson, who's done well. McCaffrey out of the backfield has caught some nice balls. Calvin Benjamin. So I think when you look at Cam Newton, he's the guys around him have been playing well as he has.
All right, let's see. Roethlisberger says, you guys are more panicked than we are. Ben Roethlisberger says reporters and people outside the Steelers' locker room are more worried than the team is.
Well, I hope so. We'll see what happens. He can't play any worse. He's still a Hall of Fame quarterback. And we'll see how he rebounds. And, they can't play any worse than they did against Jacksonville. So, they still got a lot of games left, and especially, divisional games. So we'll see how they rebound. And I think, Big Ben will, be there at the end. I still think Pittsburgh's probably going to win that division, but they still have a lot of football left to play.
This is probably the stupidest thing I've ever seen written. Stephania Bell on ESPN, I think she works for them, yeah. This is what she says. There is a direct relation to the amount of hits Brady has taken this season and the injury to his left shoulder.
That's a fair statement.
That's like saying there's a direct relation to the fact I've gained weight by my eating pizza at night.
Sure. Well, first of all, is it abroad?
Yes.
Oh, look, the females, they don't belong anywhere near football. Look, she's an idiot. There's nothing more I can say. There's a direct reflection of her having no knowledge of football whatsoever. So we'll leave it at that.
So Chris Forrester.
Chris Forrester.
Okay, Chris Forrester. Yeah,
that's correct. The way to say it is Forrester.
That's correct. I was incorrect. So Chris Forrester. Yep, Chris Forrester. He resigned from the Dolphins as the offensive line coach after a video was surfaced of him snorting white powder off a $20 bill, I think it was, or something like that.
Sure.
But so there's 2 parts to this. Talk about that, and then the second part is former New England Patriots offensive line coach and former assistant coach for the Dolphins. I'm going to botch his last name, but you could probably do it. Dave, who? Deguilimio?
Yeah, they call him Doogie or something like that.
Whatever. He was the Pats offensive line coach. Yeah,
he was.
He got fired, and they brought Scarnecchia back. So 2 parts: Chris Forrester's resignation, and then is Deguilimio, or however the fuck you say his name, any good?
Well, there's a reason why he doesn't have a job right now. I mean, how good could he possibly be? He's familiar with Miami and what they do down there. So obviously he's a replacement. As far as that goes, he was a Pats offensive line for a couple of years, and Belichick told him to hit the road, and then they talked Dante back at coming in retirement, and that's all history. As far as Chris Forrester goes, this is bizarre, and it's almost like I can't believe this happened. The fact of the matter that he's snorting cocaine on camera, and he sent it to this stripper broad, and
so there's news on the stripper broad. I assume you mean Kiwana Naiji or whatever.
Yeah.
So apparently, the woman in the video, it leaked on Monday, and she told the Dan Le Batard show with Stugatz that she had plans to expose the coach if he had not sent her the video.
Yeah, there's probably a lot. I met Chris Forrester back in 2008. He was the offensive line coach for the San Francisco 49ers, and basically it was weird because, I shared an office with Shane Day and Adam Gase, who Shane Day is a tight ends coach with Miami, and obviously Adam Gase, a head coach. this one we had Mike Martz as the offensive coordinator, and every day I get to see Mike Martz come in and like a mad scientist, draw up these plays. Chris Furster, his office was literally like right around the corner from where our offices were, and he was a guy, this is, when I was working back in San Francisco, I would get up at 3 or 4 in the morning, and I'd come in and work, and almost put a full day's work in before anyone else would show up. I was working a lot back then, but that's something I wanted to do. So ironically, the people that were always there first in the morning were myself, Adam Gase, Shane Day, and Chris Furster. And I got to know them pretty well. These guys, the three of them really well, because we spent so much time, whether it was late at night or early in the morning, all doing our work. And he was a weird guy. Every coach in the NFL is a weirdo, in some sort of shape, way, form, or fashion. So when I first heard about this what has happened, basically when I think of Chris Furster, he was a ball breaker to the end. He'd always give us a hard time. Big physical guy, great coach, great offensive line coach. But at the same time, I don't think this really surprised me. I knew that he watched quite a bit of pornography in his office while at work. I think he had if we were to justify, I'm an alcoholic, I have a drinking problem. He has some sort of pornography problem. I didn't know much about the cocaine. That really wasn't, if he was doing cocaine at the time, he got it by me. I can attest that Adam Gase or Shane Day had no idea that this is the type of person that he was, because I knew him just as well as those other two guys knew him. And, obviously he left, and, I hadn't really stayed in touch with him, and then his name pops up there on ESPN as Chris Furster, and then I log online and I see the video, and I started laughing. And, this is really bizarre. It's unfortunate, because, he is a good coach. I think he's probably done now. The offensive line in Miami was terrible. And, I feel bad for him, but at the same time, you can't go out and snort cocaine and put it on a video, especially when your team is, arguably the worst offense in football. So that's basically what I have to say about that.
Dan Orlovsky, known for taking a safety while chased by Jared Allen, retired. He was a former Lions quarterback who won 2-10 as a starter over a 12-year career as a backup in the NFL.
Dan Orlovsky is former UConn Husky. I met him a couple times. He's come back to Stores when I was working there as well. This is a guy that put together a pretty damn good backup career, 12, 13 years, made a lot of money. Was never a good quarterback ever, not ever once. So, good for him.
Running back Peterson defaulted on $2.4 million loan. Lawsuit filed in Minneapolis accuses former Minnesota Vikings running back Adrian Peterson of defaulting on a $2.4 million loan.
I don't know much about the situation. I'm sure, this is probably about the same time that he was whipping his kid. He went through a couple of tough years there with the default on the loan, plus beating up his kid pretty good. So,
Panthers have been outscored 41-13 in the final 15 minutes for the season.
Yeah, but they're 4-1, right?
Yeah.
So, look, anytime you prepare for Sunday and you go out there and the main goal for everything is to win the football game, and as long as they win, yeah, there's some aspects to the game that they're not doing as well as others, but at the same time, nobody's perfect, and Ron Rivera, for what it's worth, has really done a good job as far as getting that team where it needs to be to win games on Sunday. And they're 4-1. They've given up a lot of points in the fourth quarter, but at the same time, they beat Detroit, who's a good football team on the road. They beat New England, who's a good football football team on the road. So they're doing something right. So we'll see what happens. And I don't know. Do you have the picks that we had for the divisional winners?
Somewhere.
I don't know. I think I took Carolina. I'm not sure. I know you took Atlanta, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. All right, here we go. You picked. No, you
picked Atlanta.
Yes. No, you did pick Carolina.
Mm-hmm.
You did pick Carolina. Yep. You
So,
did pick Carolina.
I was right on that one.
You were right on that one.
Good.
2-1.
Hey, 2-1.
2-1.
Hey,
New Bucks kicker Patrick Murray is looking forward to Sunday and, quote, putting some points on the board against the Cardinals. So I assume Nick Folk got cut.
Did he?
I imagine. I didn't even hear about
it. Tampa Bay, and they drafted a guy in the first round, a place kicker, and they cut him. And I remember watching the series there, the Hard Knocks, and Nick Folk, who's bounced around from team to team, wasn't any better. And Andy and I were watching the game last Thursday night, and it was an absolute chip shot. And they were like, "There's no way you can miss this," and he kicks it, and it's not even fucking close.
Yeah.
So we'll see what the new guy can do. I think Tampa's, they have a lot of talent. They just, Dirk Cutter's not a good head coach, and that's really where it begins and ends.
Nate Solder is not at practice for the second time in 2 weeks. He might show up on the injury report.
That's not good. I mean, we're talking about the fact of the matter, trying to protect Brady, and the offensive line really needs to be there in order to protect Brady and keep him upright and healthy.
All right, so the banged-up Texans signed defensive ends Houston and Langford because they lost J.J. Watt for the season with a tibial plateau fracture to his left leg, and outside linebacker Whitney Merciless with a torn pectoral muscle.
Two guys that were fucking all over Tom Brady when they played him in New England. There, those two huge losses. Like I always say, anyone on the street, can fill a roster spot, but those are two guys that can't be replaced. So, we'll see. I think basically Houston, they're a team that's going to need to really score between 28 and 35 points consistently to win now that their defense is banged up.
So Tampa Bay defensive tackle Gerald McCoy tells Adam Schefter of ESPN that he expects an, quote, uproar from players if they're forced to stand for the national anthem.
Gerald McCoy is a really good, probably arguably a top 5, top 7 defensive line player in the NFL. Very smart guy, family man, good guy. Look, I was hoping now that we could talk about Chris Foerster hopefully that was going to take, pressure off of this anthem thing. I was hoping it was was going to die down, but I don't know. I mean, he knows the players better than I do. I guess he could say there's an uproar. We'll see what happens, but I don't know the situation closely enough to make a comment about it.
Giants are suspending cornerback Dominique Rodgers-Cromartie.
DRC, I think he left the facility early one day on, might have been today, Wednesday. Look, they're in a lot of trouble, being 0-5. Nobody's happy. Nobody wants to go to work. Very similar to the situation that we're in at work. No one wants to be there. Everyone hates the other person, and it's just not a fun place to be when everything sucks. And you look at your life and you hate your life, and I'm sure he hates his life, so that's why he's suspended.
Fletcher Cox will be a game-time decision for Thursday night's game against the Panthers, but Lane Johnson's ruled out with a concussion.
Yeah, this is going to be actually a pretty good. We always rag on that Thursday night game, but this is going to be a pretty good one. 4-1, 4-1. I think Philly is a better football team. I know EDP's does a great job helping out our show with the subscribers, and is a diehard Philly fan. And always expects them to lose, and they ended up winning. But this is going to be a good game, and Philly needs him to play in order for them to try to get a road W. So we'll see what happens.
Cowboys linebacker Damian Wilson was cleared of assault charges stemming from an incident in July.
Look, I don't know much about it, but I'm sure they paid somebody off, or they got to the witness or whatever. But I'm sure he was guilty. That's the way I look at it.
Joe Namath says it'll be, quote, hard for Jets to continue winning ways. Broadway Joe is being cautious when it comes to the Jets' hopes in 2017, but the Hall of Famer said the team's 3 straight wins have him enthused.
Look, I mean, the Jets, I didn't know if they were going to win a game the whole year. Now they're sitting there at 3-2.
Tied for first.
Tied for first with the New England Patriots and the Buffalo Bills. And any win that the Jets can get is something positive. I mean, look, this is a team that has no talent. They have terrible ownership. They have a bunch of no names out there, but they beat a good Jacksonville team. They knocked off a shitty Miami team, and then they beat a shitty Cleveland team. So are they really 3-2? Their record is what is their. They are who they are, is what Bill Parcells always said. So they're 3-2. They're tied for first. Are they going to win the division? Probably not. I still think they still have the same odds to win the Super Bowl that the New York Giants do at 300-1. I read the other day. So I think the Jets. This is really, they've played their Super Bowl last week against Cleveland.
All right, depleted Giants without 9 starters at Wednesday's practice. Don't look at her; it'll just make her knicker go nuts.
Can't see
the
them.
Giants could be without 4 of their top wide receivers when they face the league's leading defense. 4 wide receivers out for the Giants. Learn to be quiet. We're doing a football show. Be quiet.
Yeah, that's not going to help Eli Manning through. They're probably going to lose.
Former Eagles wide receiver Hawkins dies at 73. Former Eagles wide receiver Ben Hawkins died on Monday. The team said he was 73.
I don't know who he was, so.
Who he was. The first 5 weeks of the Cowboys season haven't gone as expected, so here's what has gone down and what we can possibly expect going forward. What do you think?
I think the Cowboys, they have a great offense. They have a top-notch offensive line. They have a great quarterback. They have a great running back. They have a great wide receiver. They have a good tight end now. Used to be great. Their defense is just subpar, and if anyone saw the end of that Green Bay game, Dallas, the offense did everything in their power to win that game against a good Green Bay team, and they allowed Aaron Rodgers to really come down and trollop through the tulips right in the end zone there, and they lost. So I think the Dallas have a boatload of talent, and unfortunately their defense is subpar. Knowing a guy like Jerry Jones, I think the coordinator's probably going to be on the hot seat if they don't start winning games. So we'll see what happens.
Steelers offensive tackle Marcus Gilbert says that quarterback Ben Roethlisberger will let you believe he's done, and he'll fire off a big game in response.
I agree. That's what Ben's done for his whole career. Just when you think he's down and out, he'll come out and play one of his better games. When you're a Steelers fan, you look at Big Ben, he had a terrible game, and, look, there's nothing you can do about it now. All you gotta do is move on, and there's still 20 teams out there that are calling out Ben Roethlisberger as their quarterback. So, I think he'll play better going forward.
Okay, Falcons have plenty of respect for Dolphins' Jay Cutler, even though he struggled. They're not going to underestimate him.
Well, I mean, I know they have to go out and say stuff like that, but Jay Cutler is absolute garbage.
Last time the Chiefs were this good, they won a Super Bowl.
Tell you what, they are. The Chiefs are the real deal, and I'm happy for the Chiefs. Alex is playing really well. Look, they've had a lot of challenges. They've had a lot of primetime games. And they've done nothing but win. So, I think that the Chiefs are still gonna, play New England at some point in time, in the playoffs, and it's gonna be really, the Chiefs are really now, what they need to do is not only win every week, but secure that home field advantage. So if they do, have the #1 seed in Arrowhead, that's going to be an awfully difficult place for someone to go in there and beat them in the AFC Championship. I know we're still ways away, but a couple years ago, I think Cincinnati was 6-0 at the time, and they were starting to crown them. But I still think that that Cincinnati team ended up shit in the bed. I think Kansas City has a good head coach. They have a good running game. They have speed. They have a good defense. And I think that this team's only going to get better. They have a veteran quarterback, which is what you need on a team to win games. And, I think Kansas City is going to win that division. And I think, more importantly, they're going to be a tough team to knock out in the playoffs, especially if they have the home field advantage.
Tyler Eifert, all season-ending surgery, and Tracy Porter is arrested on battery and drug charges. Let's see. Adrian Peterson's worth the risk for the depleted Cardinals. Darren Woodson and Michael Smith debate whether a trade that would send Eli Manning to Jacksonville would help the Jags and in turn allow the Giants to begin rebuilding.
Wow, that's the first I've heard of that. Look, you got the base hit.
Yeah,
nice. You got Coughlin down there. And reunited with Eli maybe. The Giants, they're really gonna have to sit in. It's gonna be difficult for the Giants to they really don't have any receivers. They have nobody. They might go out with what's his name, the guy Rashay Caldwell, maybe.
Yeah, with his bug eyes.
With the eyes there. So.
All right, so let's go right on into the scores and the standings. Now, this is how this is going to work, and if you guys can hear me, as my dog continues to bark, this is the first time she's done this. We've had her for about a month and a half now. This is the first time she's pulled this crap. So I apologize to all you guys watching the show. I don't know what else I can do. Hey, quiet.
Month and a half. It's been like 2 weeks.
No, it hasn't been. It's been 2 weeks.
A little over 2 weeks.
You want to bet? I picked her up September 15th. It's fucking October 11th.
Really?
Yes.
September 15th?
She was 14 weeks when I got her.
Okay.
Okay? She's 18 weeks now. I have her fucking thing next week. Her last shot.
Okay. But a month and a half is...
So I was wrong about a month and a half. You were wrong about 2 weeks. That's a tie. So you're 2-1-1. All right, now...
No, but you were wrong and I was wrong, so I'm still up.
Still a tie, yeah. You're 2-1-1.
Okay.
Yeah. Now you're wrong about
that.
No, you said you're still up. Yeah, and I said you're 2-1-1. Yeah.
And I said
the same thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, we said the same thing.
Okay.
All right. So, this is how this is going to work as far as... A lot of people who participated last week did not participate this week. So... Thomas Mack, it's good to see you back. You're in your own division with Blake Rios and Dennis Ramirez. You guys are in your own division. Everybody else who is in that Division 3, Jacob and Aaron and 360 Sports and Deshaun Johnson and Tyler and Saints something or other and 22 Stevie and Andy Menz and Carlos and all this stuff, Adrian and Ryan W., you guys are out. I don't have time to have you guys just, pick when you feel like it and then figure out your own 16. It's too much stuff.
The 20th of September.
It's too much stuff. Okay? It's still not 2 weeks. It'd be 3 weeks.
Correct, but it's not a month and a half.
Correct. So we're both... Are you sure it's the 20th?
I'm looking at the text that you sent me on 9/20.
It's the 20th? Okay.
Yeah,
so 3 weeks.
So 3
All right,
weeks.
so it's not a month and a half. It's not 2 weeks.
Correct.
All right.
So a month and a half is how many weeks?
6.
6.
Okay.
So I said 2, so I was closer. So.
Correct. All right. Now, so Division 2 is now Thomas Mack. You're 13-33. You went. Where the hell are you? I wrote down what you did, and I don't know what the hell I did with it now. Unbelievable. All right, so Thomas Mack, you're 13-33. You went 6-8 is what you did. You went 6-8. Okay. So before we go into, you're now in the division with Jennifer, Dennis Ramirez, and Blake Rios. You're your own division. Now, last week against the spread, I went 4-10. So I am now 44-30 or 4-. Wait a minute. Yeah, 4-10. So I'm now 36-41. McLovin went 8-6. So he is 34-43. He is 2 games behind me for the spread. As far as the picks go, I went 6-8. McLovin went 8-6, and EDP went 4-10. So McLovin's up 2 games up on me as far as picks go. He's 46-31. I'm 44-33, and McLovin in the 3 weeks he's done it is 18-28. or the 2 weeks he's done it, I think, is 18-28, right? He's done it 2 weeks with us.
I mean,
Picks, EDP, yeah, 2 weeks for the picks, yeah, 2 weeks. Yeah, 2 weeks. Okay, so he's 18-28 in 2 weeks. All right, now, so let's go on to last week. In the main division, we had Dan McLean go 9-5. Dan McLean
win another one.
9-5, another home run. Yankees 3-0. Wow. Corey Kluber. Didi, another one, yeah. Corey
Fuck
Kluber.
you, Kluber, you piece of shit.
Corey Kluber's getting shelled. All right, so Dan McLean went 9-5. He won a gift card. He is now 49-28. Lovemaker 7-7, 44-33. CV Gunn 7-7, 46-31. Goldman 6-8, 44-33. Yes to Anything to the School Awesome 7-7, 42-35. Vatic 7-7, 45-32. Thomas Edward Patrick Brady Jr. 8-6, he's 42-35. And Cali Guy 6-8, 39-38. So the standings in the main division. We have Dan McLean in first at 49-28. Second place CV Gunn 46-31, 3 games out. Third place Vadix 45-32, 4 games out. A tie for fourth between Levemaker and Steve Goldman at 44-33, 5 games out. A tie for sixth between Yes to Anything That Is School Awesome and Thomas and Patrick Brady Jr. at 42-35, 7 games out. Last place Cali Guy 39-38, 10 games out. In the Division 2, we have Thomas Mack 13-33, Jennifer 17-13, Dennis Ramirez 13-17, and Blake Rios 17-13. And then in the new division, we welcome a whole bunch of people. Cameron Egan went 8-6. The Bong Ripper went 3-11. The King went 7-7. Scrap Press went 6-8. FTTP Frost went 7-7. Nick Gaming 6-8. Cocaine Cornerback or Cocaine Cowboy 7-7. LC Muscles 5-9. Mexican something or other 8-6. Dallas Convicts 5-9. E-Rocks K went 10-4. He won a gift card. I think he had the best record of anybody last week. Jakura Staff 4-10. The Chris something or other went 9-5. He won a gift card. Dylan Delvin or something went 8-6, and then Rhett Audrin or whatever his name is went 6-8. So we got a couple gift cards to hand out. You guys will get them again after the season. Dan McLean, you've got a gift card. E-Rocks, the Chris Pine, or Chris Pike, or whatever I wrote down. I don't remember what I wrote. I can't read what I wrote, I should say. And then Blake Rios, you won a gift card. You went 9-5 last week. So Blake Rios, you're also getting a gift card. Dennis Ramirez went 4-10, Jennifer 6-8. All right, so that is what's going on here. And this is what we're going to do. So I said if you don't participate in the next and the following week, you're eligible for a gift card. But now, at this point, what we're going to end up doing is, if you just don't participate, you're automatically disqualified. We're going back to that. While I appreciate all the views and everyone coming and watching the show and participating, it's a lot of comments to go through, and I want to make sure that everybody is actually participating and not just coming in whenever they feel like it, because I don't know what your record's going to be. So, real easy stuff. Participate every week. If you don't, you're done. Okay. Thursday's games, we got a big one. Philadelphia 4-1 going into Carolina, who's home 4-1. Eagles are 2-1 away. Panthers are 1-1 at home. Carolina favored by 3.5.
I'm taking Philly plus 3.5.
Really? All right, I'm taking Carolina.
Yeah, only because of the extra. I think this is going to be a half point. I mean, I think if Carolina wins, it's going to be by 3. So I'm taking the hook. I wouldn't be surprised if Philly wins this game outright. So definitely taking Philly plus 6 points.
I'm taking Carolina. We got 1 o'clock games. Miami 2-2, 1-1 away. Going into Atlanta 3-1, 1-1 home. Atlanta at home favored by 11.5.
Oh boy. Miami's just absolute dog garbage shit. I gotta take Atlanta minus the points.
All right, I'm taking Miami plus the points. All right, next up, Green Bay 4-1 going into Minnesota 3-2, 2-1 at home. Green Bay on the road favored by 3.
Shit, this is gonna be a tight game. Green Bay is giving up 3.
Green Bay's favored by 3. Yeah. in Minnesota.
So I'll take the Packers -3.
Same here. All right, next up we have Detroit 3-2, 2-0 on the road against New Orleans 2-2, 0-1 at home. New Orleans at home favored by 5.
Wow, that's a shot. Yeah, Detroit plus the points all day.
Okay. New England 3-2, 2-0 away against the Jets 3-2, 2-0 at home. New England on the road favored by 9.5.
I don't know. New England -9.5.
I'm taking the Jets plus the points. San Francisco 0-5, 0-3 away going into Washington 2-2, 1-1 at home. Washington at home favored by 10.
Oh. San Francisco plus the points.
Taking Washington. Minus the points. Chicago 1-4, 0-2 away against Baltimore 3-2, 1-1 at home. Baltimore's favored by 6.5.
Baltimore -6.5.
Okay, I agree. Next up, Cleveland 0-5, 0-2 away going into Houston 2-3, 1-2 at home. Houston favored by 9.5.
Houston -9.5.
I agree. 4:05 game. Tampa Bay 2-2, 0-1 away going into Arizona 2-3, 1-1 at home. Tampa Bay favored by 2.5 on the road.
Arizona plus 2.5.
I agree. Next up, Los Angeles Rams 3-2, 2-0 away going into Jacksonville 3-2, 1-1 at home. Jacksonville at home favored by 2.5.
Oof, should be a pretty good game actually. Give me the Rams plus the points.
I agree. 4:25 game. Pittsburgh 3-2, 2-1 away going into Kansas City 5-0, 2-0 at home. Kansas City at home favored by 4.5.
Kansas City -4.5.
Yep. Los Angeles Chargers 1-4, 1-1 away going into Oakland 2-3, 1-1 at home. No line.
Probably pick them. Derek Carr is probably what they're waiting on. Is Carr going to play? Oakland played like shit last week. Chargers beat up a terrible team. I got to take Oakland.
Yeah, I'm taking Oakland as well. And then the 8:30 p.m. game, this is going to be a blowout. New York Giants 0-5, 0-3 away, going into Denver 3-1, 3-0 at home. Denver on the road. Denver at home favored by 11.5.
Give me the Giants plus the points.
Okay, I'm going to take Denver. You have the Giants. And then Monday night's game, horrible. Indianapolis 2-3, 0-2 away. Going in. Why didn't they move this to Thursday? Because they don't flex them, right? Indianapolis 2-3, 0-2 away, going into Tennessee 2-3, 1-1 at home. No line.
I think he's probably pick them then.
I'm taking Tennessee.
Where's the game?
Tennessee.
In Tennessee. I don't know. Jacoby Brissett's a Hall of Famer. God. Tennessee.
Yeah. All right. So now it is favorite time of the show. We got to do our picks, right, with EDP. So let's call him on the phone. And let's get this going, see, with EDP 445.
Coming at you.
With another video.
Hey, man, what's going on?
Hey, what's up? What's up, man? Sorry about the delay. I had to stop filming. I'm going to have to do some cuts because the dog I just got all of a sudden started barking out of nowhere. Couldn't hear anything. So I apologize.
Oh, no, you're good, bro. I'm just trying to fucking stick with my bitch.
The Celtics had a 30-point lead. The Celtics had a 30-point lead. It's exhibition. They had a 30-point lead. Now they're only up 1 with 4 minutes left in the fourth quarter against Charlotte. They were shooting 75% from three-point range. They were like 16 for 20 at one point. So if Charlotte comes back and wins, I'll laugh. Anyway, let's go in. All right, look. I called it last week. I said the Eagles are going to blow out the Cardinals. Thursday night's game, Philadelphia.
I said they were going to beat them by 3 touchdowns.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. But what is... I never mentioned you.
I know.
Okay.
That's what I'm saying.
All right. So tomorrow night, Philadelphia goes into Carolina. I think Carolina's going to blow them out. That's my take. That's my take. I think Carolina... I know I saw your video where you said they do have a chance. I don't see how, with the way Cam Newton has played over the last 2 weeks, and with a couple of your offensive linemen, one's definitely ruled out with a concussion, Lane Johnson, and the other guy is Brian, was it Cox or whatever his name is? He's game time decision right now. Is it Fletcher Cox? No, he's a defensive guy, Fletcher Cox.
Brian Cox is the old.
Yeah. So the deal is, I have a feeling that I would not be surprised if Carolina wins this game 27-10. What do you think, McLovin? What do you got?
I'm taking Philly to win the game.
All right, so AAPM EDP. I have Carolina. McLovin has Philly. Who do you have, EDP?
I have Carolina.
Yeah. I have a feeling that it's... I could be wrong here, but I have a feeling that it's not going to be as close as everyone seems to think. All right, Sunday's games. We got Miami going into Atlanta. Who do you got, EDP?
You said Miami going into Atlanta?
Yep.
Oh, fuck. Man, get the fuck out of here, dude. I'm taking fucking Atlanta. I'm being an asshole.
Atlanta. I want to ask you, EDP, what do you think about Chris Furster?
Who?
The Miami offensive line coach.
Did you hear about this?
Oh, yeah, my nigga was smoking coke.
Yeah.
With that trash ass team, nigga, I'm supposed to motherfucking line. You're that stupid shit. Fuck, I don't blame them shit.
Yeah, it was pretty funny. I'm taking Atlanta as well.
All right, so EDP, Green Bay going into Minnesota. Who do you got?
Oh, shit. Who's Minnesota's quarterback?
I think it's Case Keenum again, or whatever his name is. Is it Case Keenum?
Yeah, I got Green Bay, man.
Green Bay.
Yep, Green Bay all the way down. All right, next up, we got Detroit going into New Orleans. Who do you got?
Detroit.
Detroit.
I'm picking New Orleans here.
Yeah?
Yeah, we'll see what happens. All right, New England 3-2. Why am I going over the record? New England going in to face the Jets. Who do you got?
I'm gonna take the Jets, bro. I ain't that fucking dumb shit.
New England.
All right,
I'm
next.
sorry, New England. Did I say the Jets?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. New England, sorry.
All right, that's all right. San Francisco heads to Washington. Who do you got, EDP?
Washington.
All right, I'm also taking Washington. We got Chicago going to Baltimore. Who do you got? Your boy, Mitchell Trubisky.
Oh, my nigga's Trubisky. I'm gonna take the Bears.
All right, I'm taking Baltimore. Who do you
Baltimore.
got? Baltimore as well. All right. Next up, Cleveland goes into Houston. And Deshaun Kaiser, your boy's not starting. It's Kevin Hogan.
Oh, what the fuck?
He got benched.
Oh, you got me fucked up, dude. You said Cleveland and who?
Houston.
Oh, man, get the fuck out of here. I got the fucking Texans, man.
Houston.
All right, we all agree. Next up, Tampa Bay goes into Arizona with Adrian Peterson. Who do you got?
Tampa Bay. I got Tampa Bay.
Arizona.
Yeah, I'm going to take Arizona also here. EDP's got Tampa Bay. Next up, Los Angeles Rams goes to Jacksonville.
Jacksonville.
Rams.
This is a tough one. All right, so EDP has Jacksonville. McLovin has the Rams. I'm going to go with... Fuck. I'm going to go with the Rams. I got to go with the Rams here. Pittsburgh and Kansas City. This is a good game, 4:25 p.m. game. Who do you got?
Kansas City and who?
Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh's going to Kansas City.
Oh, shit. I'm taking upset, nigga. I got Pittsburgh. I think Big Ben will bounce back.
Kansas City.
Okay, next up we got... I'm also taking Kansas City. Next up we got the Chargers going into Oakland, Battle of California.
You said the who?
Chargers and Oakland Raiders, the Battle of California.
Chargers and Raiders. Yeah, I got the Raiders.
Raiders.
All right, and then we have the Sunday night game. The winless Giants go to Denver with no wide receivers.
I'm going to take... You said the Giants and who?
Denver.
Oh, fuck out of here. I got Denver killing on these motherfuckers.
Yeah, I think this game's going to be...
Denver.
The funny thing about this game is I think it's going to be a blowout, but I don't think it's going to be an offensive blowout. I have a feeling that Denver's defense is going to score like at least 2 touchdowns off the turnovers here. This final score is going to be 28-3 or 28-0. Next, Last game, we got Indianapolis. This is the Monday night game that we were all waiting for when we saw the schedule. We got Indianapolis going into Tennessee. Who do you got in the battle of backups? Percent.
Fuck that shit. Fucking Tennessee, I guess.
Yeah, I'm taking Tennessee. Who do you got?
Tennessee.
All right, so EDP, thanks a lot for joining us again this week. We appreciate everything you do for the show. Any final thoughts about anything going on?
Yeah, we're gonna get fucking murdered for fucking Carolina.
Yeah, I have a feeling. EDP says it's going to be a very close game. He thinks Philadelphia's going to end up winning it. I just have. Sorry, that's what I meant. McLovin thinks that Philadelphia's going to win in a very close game. I have a feeling that Carolina's going to blow them out, but we'll see.
We'll see.
We'll see.
All right, man. Thanks a lot.
Thanks, EDP.
All right, man. Thanks for having me on, bro.
All right, dude. All right, this has been an event-filled show.
It has.
Tensions got risen. Dogs were barking. Tensions were flying. Shits were made on the floor.
Sure.
And no. But almost. That's why I had to bring her out. We had to stop filming and do a cut back, which you guys see in the
All right,
post.
go Yankees.
Yankees are up 3-0. Yankees are up 3-0 in a winner-take-all game 5.
That'd be a big
Yeah.
big choke job.
Yeah, the choke job is right. You win 20-something games, you set an American League record, and you shit the bed in the playoffs. So there you go. Corey, and speaking of shit in the bed, it's not even just Cleveland, it's Corey Kluber.
Sure.
I mean, Corey Kluber, down the stretch, he might beat out Chris Sale for the Cy Young.
Sure.
And this has been a very strange theme, and we'll just end on this.
Top of the 4th.
Yeah, well, this has been a very strange. CC Sabathia struck out like 7 guys at least. You can't knock on what he did.
I'm just saying he's pitching
Sure. So the deal is the starters this postseason, they've all got shelled. I mean, the only guy who didn't get shelled was Justin Verlander. I mean, think about it.
Well, what do you mean?
Most top-tiered starters, Kluber and Sale
Sure.
and fucking name a guy, whoever. Trevor Bauer yesterday, the other day.
But he pitched well.
He pitched well in the first game. Yeah.
But he's came off of 3 days rest.
All right, so here's the deal. Thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you next week.